everyone. Welcome back to the Completely Clueless podcast. I am your host, Sarah Alice Liddy. And let me tell you, I have some tea for you all on this episode. This episode, I am going to be telling you everything that is going on in my life. I took a hiatus last week because I was moving. And drum roll, please. Drum-ba-ba. I quit my job. Many of you guessed it right on my Instagram. I was really thinking I could have fooled you guys. I was really like, they're going to come out of the woodwork with some crazy answers, but that was not it. And I'm honestly happy you guys can read me that well. That means I'm doing a good job as a host of this podcast, that you all know my next move before I have even told you guys. So you got it right. I quit my job, and things have totally turned themselves upside down in the past month of my life. Like, where I was at the beginning of October is not where I am right now, which is November 2nd. It is election day, so there is that in the air. There is also just a lot of anxiety on my part in the air. And so I'm just like putting that out there for you guys. Like, I just want to paint the picture. So yesterday, I was in this exact spot trying to film this episode, and I stopped and started for 2 hours. I was just so in my head. I had also had a really bad night's sleep. When my anxiety is high, it tends to take over my sleep. And so I didn't get a good night's sleep. I was vibrating with so much anxiety. And then I was trying to film this episode, and I really wanted to push through, because I think for me personally, and I think a lot of people experience this, when we are at high stress levels and high anxiety levels, we can kind of like turn off. I know for me, I tend to just like kind of dissociate a little bit. Like, I will like lay in bed and scroll, but not really be present, and just try and avoid everything that is making me feel stressed out. So yesterday, I was really trying to challenge that, and I did challenge it. So like, applaud for me. I did challenge it, okay? I did try. I got up, I took a shower, I did my therapy session, and I attempted to make this work for 2 hours. And then it got to the point where I was like, all right. I literally called my partner and I was like crying. I was like, babe, like, I'm really trying to make this work. It won't work. Like, I almost felt like I needed to ask permission to somebody to tell me like it's okay to like close the book for the night, step away, and come back with a fresh head and eyes tomorrow. And I did need that permission, and I think I knew deep down, I was like, Sarah, you've been trying, you've tried your best, like, it's okay to step away. So if you need permission from somebody to step away today from something that you've been trying to make work, or you need permission to give yourself grace and rest, this is me giving you the permission. Rest, give yourself grace, especially in this last month. We've all been through so many life changes this past month. Like, we need to give ourselves grace as we are moving through those changes, because God, it is a journey. However, I want to give you guys like just the like pulse. Let's give it a pulse check. That's what they used to call it at work for me, a pulse check, when we checked in on the team in our lives. So I'm going to give you a pulse check on my life and all the things that have changed in the last month right now. So let's run the docket. 1, I moved home. Welcome to my childhood bedroom. I tried to do a little something special with my set. This is my set. And I hope you guys like it. I put on a fire in the back. It took me a long time to roast that up, as you can see. So this is my childhood bedroom. I moved back home, I think a little bit over a week ago now. I live on the 3rd floor of my house, and let me tell you, it's a fucking disaster up here. It's a disaster, and it's driving me crazy. I'm one of those girls that if my space isn't clean, or at least just like tidy, my mind is a little bit crazy. And I definitely have been feeling that the week that I've been here. However, with finishing up work and everything else going on, like, I was just like, okay, like, I will deal with this at a later point. But I'm definitely getting to the point where I'm like, all right, Sarah, like, you need to prioritize this because it's affecting you. So that is definitely getting done this week. When I come back to you guys next week, like, I am going to report that I clean this. And if I didn't report that, like somebody tell me like clean your space because I got to be held accountable on this one. Another big life change is I decided to step away from the new therapist that I had been seeing for the last 6 months. I'm not going to give the itty bitty the itty bitty gritty details. I'm not going to give the crazy, there's not even crazy details. I'm not going to give the details on that is what I'm trying to say. You know, it's my personal journey. The therapist just like didn't work out for me. And honestly, as my old therapist said, because I'm seeing her in the interim, it's actually the first relationship that I've like sort of ended in a healthy way. I really, really just wanted to email this therapist like, sorry, this isn't working, like I'm donezo. But I actually told her in person and it was so freaking uncomfortable, let me tell you. I will just say I tried to go in with something. I said like my location is the reason why I wanted to end things. And then I found out that she had an office in Westchester. And so I was like, fuck. So then I was like sort of telling the truth in the next reason that I gave her. But ultimately, I just felt like she wasn't the right fit. I didn't know how to say that, but I sort of said that in my second reason of like wanting somebody with more experience with LGBTQ clientele. It was awkward. It was uncomfortable. But the therapist that I have been seeing for super long and am seeing in the interim while she helps me find a new therapist said like, Sarah, you've ended a relationship healthily. I was like, oh my God, I'm a superstar. Like, where's my prize? Like, I need a sticker. I successfully broke up with my therapist. Like, icon queen, legend. So that's the little claps. Even though it's a life change, like, it's definitely a successful one, I guess. Now I need to find a new therapist, which is just like, it's so much work, but we're going to get there. And I'm starting this podcast all on my own, really venturing into it by myself. And I think that was something else that was super difficult about recording yesterday. When you have somebody else here with you, it's easy to keep the conversation going and to not get so in your head about what you're saying. What are the other people on the other side going to think? Like, I just didn't think about those things when Audrey was here with me or any of our guests. And now that I'm doing this alone, like, it's a lot harder for me to like keep everything going, to not feel super self-conscious about like what I'm saying, if it's coming out the right way, if I'm fumbling over my words. Like I fumble over my words all the time, you guys. And it is something that causes me a lot of like self-consciousness. I feel very like aware of how my words are coming out, if I'm saying them correctly, if I'm fumbling over them. It's just like a me thing. And so that's just like another element in all of this change, is that the podcast is also going through a really big change. So job, location of living and environment, new therapist, and my business and ventures and career. Like literally my whole life has changed except for like my friendships, my family, and my relationship. Like it's insanity to me. Like I literally can't verbalize how I feel because I just feel so many mixed emotions. And I really want to get into it with you all and be open and honest as much as I can about everything, because I know for me, I go on social media and after like watching content that, you know, gives me joy, I sometimes, especially on Instagram, like I find myself clicking out of Instagram more because of how bad it makes me feel. And you know, my therapist actually said, like, nobody leaves social media feeling happy or good. I may have said this on one of the last episodes, but it's something that's just like really stuck with me. And I'm really trying to be aware of when I don't feel good on social media and stepping away from it or switching to a different app. But lately, I think with all the changes going on in my life and feeling insecure about some of those things and feeling insecure about where I am in my career, like I have just been comparing myself so much to people on the internet, people I literally do not know. And I'm trying to be open and honest and vulnerable. You see, flubbing words. I'm trying to be open, honest, and vulnerable about my experience because I don't want this to be a space where people want to click away from. I want people to click in because they know that a girl is gonna be real with them and that they can be real with me and we can be real together. So we're gonna get all into the nitty-gritty. And if I can make you feel like you are not alone in 1 second of this episode and every episode, I have done my job. And please DM me if you've had a moment where you felt like you're not alone in this episode, in any episode, because I greatly appreciate y'all's feedback, especially doing this alone. Like, I feel like I'm like, what is the measure of success? How do I know if people are engaged and whatever? So please DM me. I would love that. And I love talking to you guys and getting to know you because it can be lonely. It's just me in my childhood bedroom. You know what I mean? All right. But before we get into October theory, all the changes happening in my life and your guys' entries, I have to talk to you guys about a recent Clueless moment that was solved for my old roommate, Liz, and I. So shortly after we moved into our apartment, we started receiving packages. Well, better yet, Liz started receiving packages addressed to her at our apartment that were weird as fuck. And in these packages were usually garbage bags of some sort. And then there was one time there was like African soap and tea. And then one time there were pee pads, which Olivia's bunny Radish uses. So that was free. That was great. But like just weird packages, right? And the weirdest thing about it was like, obviously, Liz was not ordering these packages for herself. Like she was like, where the fuck are these coming from? And then number two that was weird was it was addressed to her, but it was by her nickname, Liz. Whenever she orders Amazon packages, she orders under her like full name, which is Elizabeth, and then her last name and then the address. But these were coming to Liz and like our address. And she was like, this is so weird. Like, how would you even like know that I go by Liz? Like, why are these showing up at our place? And literally they would show up every couple of months and we would just be like, what is going on? Like the first one arrived and we were like, all right, this is probably just a mistake of some sorts. But then the second and the third and the fourth came and we were like, this is so weird. And immediately I go into like anxiety mode of like, shit, did somebody find out our address from the commuting videos I make on TikTok? Like, how does somebody know our address? And like, I think it would like ignite some fear every time we would get a package, but then like nothing, knock on wood, thank God, ever happened. So we were sort of just like, after a couple of days, like we would lose like any interest in figuring out like how these were getting to our place. And Liz said that she did contact Amazon and they didn't really have any answers for her either. So we got a package not like long before I moved out. And I was like, Liz, another one of your creepy packages came. And she was like, oh my God, like, I'm like scared. Like, what is going on? Like, what are we going to do about this? And so not long after, I either think it was that same day or the next, Liz gets a message from one of her like regional marketers and is like, hey, are you getting Amazon packages like to your place that you didn't order? And she was like, yes, like I've been receiving these like weird packages. She didn't use the word weird, but like I've been receiving these packages that I've never got for myself. And so mystery solved. It was Liz's regional marketer that was sending these packages to our place. Liz had used her account to get something for work that they all needed. And like the subscriptions for Amazon that this regional marketer was ordering were going to our place. Like for some reason, that address was ticked off and not her own. So I am just so happy this wasn't a creepy person sending us, better yet, Liz, weird things. Like honestly, after we got the last one, I was like, is somebody trying to tell us that we're garbage? Or that you're garbage, or like that they want to pee on us because like pee pads and then wash it off with the African soap. Like I was like, what is this mystery? Like I just like could not believe it. But ultimately, Liz doesn't have a stalker and I'm so happy for that. Like this was an interesting saga for us to go through and now it's over and I'm happy that this is no longer a Clueless moment for her or for I. I mean, sure, I moved out, but like you could tell every time a package came, Liz was like, what the fuck is going on? So Amazon package saga is completely clueless cleared. LOL, completely clueless cleared. If you guys have had any recent clueless moments, I'm going to put up a little toggle on the Instagram, which is at completely clueless pod this week for y'all to share your stories too, because I definitely want to start including your clueless moments more, or clueless clear ups, which is kind of like I just explained, like a resolve moment to a clueless moment. And we can chat about them. I love clueless moments. I've had so many silly ones recently. Like, I didn't know that you could put other coins besides quarters into meters. Like, I thought you could only put quarters into meters, and that is not true. My partner was like, Sarah, like, are you okay? Like, you can put any type of quarter into a meter. And like, I sincerely had no idea about that. So I have like stupid little clueless moments like that all the time that just make me question my like abilities as a person. But that's just life. We all learn things at different points, so please feel free to share, and I will put up that toggle this week so we can all be clueless together. But for now, we need to get into the real tea. Like, I need to stop stalling and beating around the bush and just dive headfirst into it. I'm honestly nervous to talk about this, and I want to like be as open as I can while also like obviously protecting myself and like any contracts that I sign. So let's just get into me quitting my job and flipping my life upside down. And the first thing that we're going to do to talk about this is talk about October theory. So I didn't know what October theory was until this year. And as somebody that was like a social media content creator strategist full time, like I saw this October theory arise on TikTok, and I was like, great, like what piece of content can I make around this? Or like this would be a great trend for us to play into. But then I've taken a step back and I've realized like, oh my God, like I've gone through October theory. Like, October theory has theorized on my life and so many of y'all's lives that I had to dig like deeper into it and really prove with my shit and your shit that this is real. So I looked up some things online because in my mind, I like know what it is, but I wanted to be able to verbalize it to you all in the correct way. So I looked up this Betches article. I think that's how you say that company's name. It's like Bitches, but it's like with an E, so like batches. I think that's how you say it. I looked up this Batches article, and it had some really great quotes on like what really October theory is. So they said October theory becomes the month of big changes, major life decisions, and personal growth because October is like a second New Year's. It's the time when people collectively say, oh shit, there's only a few months left before the new year and I haven't done any of the goals I set for myself at the new year. Additionally, there is this feeling that time is moving really quickly. Like, I know what happens for me. It's like Halloween is over and before you blink, it's already the new year. So time is moving on like 2 times speed. I will also link this article in the bio if you want any more of like a definition explanation on what October theory is. But I just wanted to lay that groundwork because I really feel like it all explains like why all this happened in this month. And honestly, like I wasn't even thinking about it, but it just happened. So let's get into it. I promise I'm going to dive into it. I'm just nervous and I don't know how to get my thoughts like a completely 100% straight on it. So please do your best to stick with me as I bounce from all the reasons why I quit my job. But yes, I quit my job. Today is actually my second day of fun employment. #unemployment. That's what people call it these days, is fun employment. I think it should be called stress employment because that is what it is. But it is my second day of unemployment. I decided, I want to say like October 10th to quit my job. It had been a long time coming. Actually, my partner told me that I have been mentioning wanting to quit this job since February of 2024, which is absolutely crazy to me. And let's just do a quick little recap of my timeline with this job, especially for those who are new here. So I started working at this marketing agency in June of 2023 as a creator resident. It's basically an internship. It was full time. And this was my first time doing content creation person in a 9 to 5, in a business setting. I had another internship before that, but it wasn't really me creating content. It was a lot more just like admin things that have to do with social media. And then I got hired in this job of August 2023. That was when I became a full-time creator at the agency, no longer a resident. During my residency, I got put on to this brand because that's what they do. They put the creators onto different brands that they represent, and then you create content for them. I got put onto this fashion brand's account. I'm not going to say the name. It's a very well-known brand. It's a purse brand mainly. If you go on my TikTok, I promise you'll find out which one it is, but just for any legal purposes, I'm not going to say which one it is. And I was put on their account to make TikToks, Instagrams, shorts, reels, threads, Pinterest, like everything on social media. That was something that this agency specifically is very into. They want their creators to do it all. So we are making pieces of content for all these different platforms of social media. We're also writing copy. We're also being community managers. We are also filming the content. So it is a great way to learn everything. And, I think once I got like 6 months into it, I sort of knew which things I preferred over others. And it just, it became a lot of work to do all these different things and juggle them. However, that was like what my job was. And then, as I said, my partner says in February of 2024, I started talking about wanting to quit. And then in October, I finally quit. So let's get into probably the biggest question you want to know is like why I quit my job with literally nothing lined up next. That's a big element to this, is that I stepped away from my job and I literally have nothing lined up. And to be quite honest with you, I'm very clueless on what I want next in my career, because the things that I really want are things that I'm just not sure, like right now, financially wise, I can make work, but we can get all into that stuff once I explain the why. So why I quit, I'm going to be super honest here. And I wonder if any of y'all have experienced this. So when I took this job, honestly, any job in social media I've taken post-grad has been to learn to be a better content creator, to help build my skills so that I can make my content and my podcast my main streams of income. So I can make myself and the Completely Clueless self brands that I can monetize and live off of. And so when I took this job, like that was sort of my intention, was like, I'm going to meet the marks at this job. I'm going to do the best that I can, but like probably not go above and beyond, because I don't really want to be there long term or like rise in the ranks of this like corporate company. But I want to be a part of it so that I can learn how to grow social media, how to make the best in class content, etc., etc. And I will say one of the best parts of working at this specific marketing agency is I did learn so much. Like I walked away with a lot of tangible skills. I am such a better like editor because of it. I learned how to use Premiere like pretty well, and so I'm walking away with a lot, which is great in terms of like being a skillful person. However, as I continue to progress in my time there, and also I fortunately had a lot of success with my content on this brand, a lot of my higher ups were wanting to push me more, were wanting me to take more of a leadership role. Whereas my brain was in this, like, I just kind of want to meet the mark. Like this is my day job, like this is my survival job, but it's a bit better because I have like benefits and I'm probably maybe making a tiny bit more, but not much more. Money. And so in performance reviews, I started to get some notes about like my dedication to the job, my accountability, my reliability. People were sort of questioning like, where do you stand with this? And like sitting in this seat, honestly, looking back, like I understand them questioning it. Like usually people do want to go above and beyond at work because they want to get promoted and all of these things. However, as I said at the beginning of this, like that wasn't my really main goal for coming here. My main goal was to learn more about content creation and grow and kind of just like make ends meet. Like, to be quite honest, like there has been a lot of times in my life where I have pushed myself so hard to be the hardest worker with the best work ethic in the room, especially when I was in theater. Like I just grinded and grinded and grinded. And I didn't really want to grind. Like I didn't really want to work super duper hard. Like I just wanted to do my best. And I'm going to say this right now, and this isn't any like cockiness towards me, but like I was doing a good job just off of like, you know, giving them the baseline. Like I was meeting the marks very well, even though I wasn't like going like above and beyond. And also like some things I just didn't know or understand because corporate life was very new to me. I didn't really understand that you're supposed to like meet with your higher ups like once a month or have touch bases with them often. Like that just wasn't something I knew. So if I could go back, like I would have probably changed that and was touching base with them more so that when some of this feedback got dropped on me this summer about like not being reliable, about people questioning my dedication, like et cetera, I didn't feel like as bad about myself. I definitely think there was a different like way to tell me. But yeah, like if I think there was just a lot about the corporate world and how it functions that I didn't understand that also kind of led to feeling not great in the workplace. So there was definitely this lack of passion and fulfillment at work of just feeling like I don't want to make content for other brands like in this capacity. Like I don't want to work a 9 to 5 and make content for this brand. Like I want to be the brand. I want to make content for products from my POV because people value my POV and value my influence and like what I have to say. Like think about your favorite influencer or person on the internet that you watch. Like you are influenced by them because like there's sort of this like parasocial relationship. You trust them, you like their content, and so you buy the things that they promote, sort of the thing. Like that's sort of like what I wanted for myself in this. So there was definitely this like dissonance in my longer term goals with the company's like longer term goals for me. And then there was also this added element of money. And I am going to start off by saying I was privileged enough to be able to afford rent in the city and groceries and my basic needs off of my salary. I will say that right now. Like I could meet my basic needs. However, that is all I could meet on that salary were my basic needs. I didn't open up about this a lot at the time because I don't think I even realized it was happening to me, but I was sort of like house poor when I lived in the city, especially when I first got there. I had used a lot of my savings to move into the apartment, to buy furniture for the apartment. And so once I got there, I didn't have much money left to spend. And so that caused me to really coop up in my apartment and not go anywhere. And I know you may say to yourself, Sarah, there's a bunch of free things to do in the city. Like I totally 100% agree with you. I think because I was so stressed out and overwhelmed, like I personally just like close into my shell. And so I stopped going anywhere and doing anything because I didn't have much money. And because my rent and my bills and my basic needs were basically like were all of the money I had. So I didn't really have the extra money to go out to dinner, to go out to drinks, like et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely think there was an element of feeling overworked and underpaid at this job. And I didn't see a future where I was going to be paid what I thought I deserved very soon. I saw a lot of my peers that had been there longer than me not getting promotions and raises. And specifically, these were a lot of women. And I think that was alarming to me too, is that I saw more men getting promoted and raised money. I saw more men getting promotions and raises than I did see women. And that was hard too, because I had a lot of female coworkers that were very deserving of promotions specifically, who had been there for a couple of years now and still weren't getting them. And I sort of was looking at them and I was like, I don't really want that to be me. Like, I don't want to be here for 2 years still begging for people to realize my worth, even though I have had many top performing pieces of content on this page. Like, I got our analytics guy to tell me like some of the analytic facts around my pieces of content, and they were really great, you guys. And I'm not even just saying that, like, I promise they were really good, and I was really proud of myself. And I think there's this piece of myself that felt like, see, I am giving you my best, I am giving you a lot, but you're not giving me anything in return. Like, I'm spending all my time here and I can't even like buy myself clothes, like, or go out to dinner, or like, not feel stressed out. And look, those are luxuries. I know they are. And that's just how I was feeling. I was like, what is the worth of being overworked if like you don't get to enjoy some of like the luxuries of life sometimes. Like, I talked about it with my therapist. I was like, if they were paying me more and I was able to, meet all my basic needs and then also like save money, go to dinner with my partner once a month, go out with my friends and not feel stressed once a month, like, I would have probably stayed. But that wasn't the case. And I didn't see a future very soon, or maybe within the next year, that definitely not within the next year, where I saw that changing. And so I was like, and last but not least, I think the communication within the company was just a bit off. And there were some things that were said to me over the summer that were sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And they were things that were just not said in the kindest and most empathetic way, which the company really does champion. They champion being empathetic with one another. And the things that were said to me just made me feel unsafe. They made me feel like people were talking about me, and that, things weren't being correctly or directly communicated to me. And I think when you feel, like people are talking about you behind your back, or you feel unsafe and untrustworthy in that way, it just breaks your trust. It breaks your ability to be the best worker you could be. Literally, from the moment that I was having those conversations in July, like, from that point forward, like, I was just angry and frustrated every single day. Like, I would wake up every single day angry about having to do this job. I was like, why should I work hard for people, for these people who said these things, for these people who believe XYZ. I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty, just because, again, like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to break bridges. I get it. We are all humans doing our best every day. I get we are all not perfect. And I get that, things can get miscommunicated or aren't communicated in the right way. And what was said to me had an immense effect on me, and I wish I could have let it go. Like, I wanted to let it go. I wanted to be like, just let it go, Sarah, but I couldn't. It affected my everyday. It affected how I moved and operated. And like I said, it made me angry, and it just made me not want to be there and to work for these people, because I just felt angry. And I know that I definitely like had some wrongs in the situation, and I think they also did too. I think the way that it was communicated, in the timeline it was communicated, there were just some not great things happening there. All right, so the lack of passion, the lack of passion and fulfillment, the salary, wage stuff, and then, the communication and just like some of like the ways of working within the company, it was just not aligning with me and working for me. And like I said, I think once that trust was broken for me, it was very hard, impossible for me to come back from it. And so as the anger and frustration and just like hurt feelings built up, my fuse of tolerating this job just got like shorter and shorter and shorter. Like, like I said, I couldn't go one day without just complaining and feeling so angry. I would come to my partner all the time and just be so negative and angry about work and having to work and like having to do things that like you're expected to do at your job, but I was just angry and frustrated. And so I was at dinner with my dad in October, and we were just, talking about career and stuff. And I was saying that I wasn't happy and unfulfilled. And, my dad is very like big on career motivation and like just he says motivational things in general. And he said to me, he's like, you are in your 20s. You are only in your 20s once. Right now, you have like the least amount of responsibility that you ever will. And so why not take the risk? Like, so you fail and you get up and you try again, but you're never going to be able to see if you can make the podcast, your own content, theater and acting work if you don't take the risk and try it. And I feel like that conversation really led me to be like, okay, Sarah, like you need to step away from this. This isn't making you happy. You wake up every single day dreading your life going to this job. And that isn't a way to live life. Like, yes, there are definitely things about this job that made me feel good. It was really freaking cool to say that I was making content for this big fashion brand. And I'm on their page and like my content's on their page, my face is on their page. Like it made me feel very cool and accomplished. On paper, I loved telling people that this was my job. But deep down inside, like I wasn't fulfilled and I wasn't happy. And for a long time, I didn't quit because of like not wanting to let the accomplishment go. I wanted to be the girl that was like successful on paper and was doing like the best and coolest thing. Like it's almost like Kim Kardashian. If you ever watched that episode in the recent season of the Kardashians where she's like, I just want to do more and more and I want to do a movie and I have Skims and like I'll lose sleep to be like the most successful woman. Like there is just a part of my brain that like loves having accomplished something, that loves success, that loves when people say like, oh, what you're doing is so cool, or you're so successful, or I look up to you. Like that is just something that like gets me going a bit, And I wish sometimes it wasn't always like that. And that is like the case. And so it was hard for me to step away because I knew that I was going to be stepping into literally no job. And most likely the next step was going to be a survival job of sorts. And there's this part of my brain that like feels that, working a survival job and then doing all of this in the like part-time or like at night like wasn't good enough. And I'm really having to work through that in this. Like, I'm probably going to be working at a grocery store for the next like 2 months and my brain is just like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Like whatever, but I need to make money and like I just want to do something where I don't have to give my creative energy to it, where I can just kind of like move through the motions so that I can give all my energy and my power to the things that I want to happen for myself so that hopefully they do. And I can turn around and say, hey, like working that retail or that grocery store job or nanny job was worth it because I got to give my all to this. And honestly, like if I look back at when Audrey and I started the podcast and I was nannying part-time and sure, I would need to make a lot more money than what I was making nannying, but like the podcast at that time was more successful. And I think it was because Audrey got to put so much more time and effort into it and just more creative energy. So after that talk with my dad, backtracking, I decided to quit. I really hope we were able to take something away from the last 30 minutes. That's the story on me quitting my job. And it was probably a bit of a jumbled mess because I think I'm having trouble like fully processing it all. Like I think I woke up with so much anxiety yesterday and had so much anxiety because yesterday, my first day of unemployment, was when it all really sunk in like, oh shit, like this is real. And now there is a lot of figuring out to do. And that all makes me very nervous because it's a lot of me looking at my future, looking at like, okay, like there are certain financial things that like I need to make XYZ amount of money so that like I am good. And then how am I going to make all of this, my content and whatnot, work for myself? I'm giving myself this week to kind of take a back seat, but to be quite honest, I have a lot of admin things to do for the podcast. I'm still trying to get the podcast going, but there's a lot for me to figure out, and we will be talking about that in future episodes. But for now, I want to get really quickly to some of the stuff that I have here for you guys with your changes that happened in October, because it's just too good to leave out of this episode. So first we have, girl, I moved across the country. Congratulations to you. That is an amazing step, and I bet a very scary one. I feel like I've never made a big move anywhere because I'm afraid of not knowing anybody and not having any friends. So I applaud you in that big change. This person said, OG situationship ghosted this October, just like he did literally a week ago from last year. Oh my God. So you had a situationship that ghosted you last October and then did it this October again. Girl, oh no. You got to let that guy go. Guy, girl, gay, or they go. Let them go. See you never again in October. This one says, definitely internal mindsets. English. Definitely internal mindset and goal changes, but making plans to launch a business in the new year. That is so freaking exciting. I feel that. I feel your entrepreneurial spirits, because that's how I feel with the podcast right now. This person is in a new relationship, which is very exciting. It also happens to be one of my best friends, Liz. So hey girl, hi, proud of you. This next one says, partner had a horrible medicine side effect and I had to start low. Oh, okay. I'm getting this now. So your partner had a terrible side effect to a medication, and then you also had to start a new diet for your IBS, and you have a new job, and you had to take your cat to the vet, and you're recovering from a hip surgery. Wow, that is a doozy. I totally get you on the IBS thing. I should probably be on the correct diet for people that have IBS, but I am not. And trust me, I struggle from it. So I'm wishing you and your hip and your cat all the best. This one says, I'm leaving my husband. Fucking Scorpio season has me shedding. Period, girl. Got that snaps for you. Got those snaps. Okay. I've never been divorced. However, I've gone through breakups, and you got to do what is best for you. If this man is not serving your life in the best way that he can be, adios, see you never again. Happy for you, wishing you all the best in this major life change. This one says, I'm about to launch a new business. Oh my gosh, all these entrepreneurial girlies, we got to meet up and talk, because I need help and we can exchange tips. Oh my God. I saw this one when I opened my phone to look if people were responding, and this one is insane. So I broke up with my boyfriend. It was amicable, and found out I was pregnant 2 weeks later. All I have to say is we need to follow up on this one. I need to know, did you guys get back together? Are you not back together, but you're going to co-parent? Did you keep the baby? Did you not keep the baby? Maybe that's not my not my information to know, but as much as you're willing to tell, please give us a follow-up, because that is one hell of a life change. Being a mother, no, I probably could never. No, I do want to one day, but crazy. Oh my God. So a lot of you guys also have major life changes going on, whether it's moves, new businesses, relationships. So truly, we proved October theory real. It is real. Put it in the dictionary. Put it in the classrooms for kids to learn about. This is a month of major change. And so before I leave, I must tell you all to give yourself grace. It's a reminder for myself. It's a reminder for you. We need to give ourselves grace, because we're all going through a lot of major life changes. And then we also have the election and the holidays. We need to give ourselves grace. So you need to do what is going to be good for you, whether that's sitting down and watching Gilmore Girls. I know that is what's getting me through right now, is watching Gilmore Girls. Literally, that's all I want to do. And you know what? That's filling my cup, and that's giving me the self-care I need. If it's going on a walk for you, or filling up on groceries for the week, or going out with your friends, whatever you need to do to fill your cup and to take care of yourself with all of these major life changes going on, please do it. Please give yourself grace when you are crying at night, feeling not good about yourself, because I know that is what I'm trying to do right now. Trust me, guys, last night I was crying in my bed. I was like, fuck, what did I do? Did I do the wrong thing? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to make money? Like, da 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 da. The what ifs were going. And my partner reminded me, like, Sarah, like, it is day one. Today is day one. You need to give yourself grace, okay? And I want to give that to you guys as well. That reminder, give yourself grace. Anyways, this episode has taken many, many an hour to record, so I'm happy to say in this moment right now that we've reached the end. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Completely Clueless podcast. Please, please, I could not ask you more to please rate, review, subscribe, follow, all of these things, especially right now in this era. I need it all so much. Please send to your friends, recommend to somebody. If you have any recommendations to me on how to make this better, like, send them my way. I am all ears. I love you guys. I love what we have together. And you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Completely Clueless Pod. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful week, and don't forget to be motherfucking clueless. Bye, you guys.